I'm Ben Wallach, co-founder of Mission Omega, along with my partner here, Ian Mitchell, and I've been in the financial services industry for over 25 years, most of that time leading large fraud functions for large financial institutions.
Ian Mitchell, 25-year fraud fighter. Like Ben, I was a head of fraud at a couple banks, 25 years fighting fraud, but then my story is I gave up about 6 or 7 years ago, grew out a crazy beard, completely left corporate America, and rewrote the story, fighting human crime, founded the Noble, and then, Ben is on the board of the Noble, and we just decided to do this together. And so thrilled to be on this journey with Ben as we do this Mission Omega thing. It's been great to revamp and rethink of the fraud services industry.
Absolutely.
Mission Omega is a mission-driven, purpose-led, specialized fraud services business. Honestly, the world of fraud is getting so challenging, it's getting so complex. So what Ben and I decided to do is set up an organization that I think honestly changes the way we look at fraud in general. There's been such a devaluing of fraud across the industry, and what we're doing is bringing specialization into this with our team and our approaches. Honestly, the kind of thing that I think you and I, when we sat in the jobs as the head of fraud, we wanted to see and we wanted to be able to bring in, not necessarily generalists, but really fraud is a specialization. There's an expertise there that we want to make sure that when we sat in these seats, we had partners there that could bring that same expertise to us. And so we're made up of several lines of businesses and how we bring that to market. But really we try to do everything with mission in the focus. Mission is our focus, and it's mission both fighting fraud and scams and how we impact the world on the process. So I think that's a big part of why we set it up.
When you look at the fraud ecosystem, fraud losses are up for everyone. Client experience is down, reputational risk is high. All these things that we had to manage when we were fraud leaders for large financial institutions, they're all trending in a bad direction. And so it's really about making a difference in the ecosystem. Closing those gaps is really how we defined our lines of business.
We've built such an amazing consulting team through our networks and people we've worked with in the past. What I love about this is we're helping our friends in the industry. We're helping out of places we felt deficient. Most outsourced managed services today, they're built by operational people. They're built by people that don't understand the pressures that we were under every day. And what we're doing is we're building that here to solve that with the lens of fraud fighters. We just want to be thought of as, the top experts in fighting fraud because it's so specialized, it's so needed. So when people think of what can we do, we want to do all these, we want to fill gaps, we don't want to compete where we necessarily need. We want people to think about us as being just the true fraud experts and bringing the best people to solve specialized problems in the fraud landscape.
And partners.
That's right.
In their fight. We will get in the trenches with them.
That's right. So Omega Advisory is specialized fraud consulting. That's what we are. It's helping institutions solve the fraud problem of balancing customer experience, losses, regulatory challenges, growth, and navigating this complex world in fraud. Everything from fraud program assessments and control assessments, all the way through providing resources to help in the day-to-day fraud fight. It's comprehensive, and uniqueness about us, and I have found this even in my past consulting experience, and then honestly when we were buyers, is there aren't enough organizations bringing that practitioner experience. And that's the essence of who we are. We've seen how people from different organizations have come together and we've helped our clients solve a problem, even in ways that have surprised us.
If someone we have on an engagement doesn't know all the answers to all the questions, we've got somebody on the team that does with that kind of knowledge background. Omega Ops is our managed services line of business within Mission Omega, and it's all about allowing our clients to have access to an extended team, whether it's analytics resources or analyst resources that are working alerts or investigative resources that are working cases. Whatever the client needs as an extension of their team, that's what Omega is.
We need to work together in fraud, and that threat consortium, the power of having a person sitting in a fraud operations that's servicing other banks that can stand up and saying, I'm seeing this threat, and it gets shared across that network is just tremendous. And Omega Ops is not only a place that's going to bring expertise, but also that ability to just really easily, dynamically learn from other banks in a safe way. Yeah, Omega Talent is a really, really neat part of our business because, it's interesting, our networks have grown so much personally and as a team. We know so many amazing fraud fighters looking for careers, looking for new jobs, looking to get out of a job they don't like. And so there's a huge network of fraud fighters. But then also, when you think about the core of our advisory, we're always trying to find new top consultants, and that model doesn't always work with them. So they may not want to come on as a consultant. So we have a growing database of amazing fraud fighters that are operationally trained, investigative trained, analytically, in our networks, at our growing team. And so what we're doing is taking these amazing fraud fighters and helping them find a new job to succeed and thrive. And so that's Omega Talent, is placing amazing fraud fighters in a new home to help them fight the new fight.
Omega training is all about knowledge. Whether they're starting out in a career or they're midway through their career or they're ready to take that top fraud job, training is needed. For anyone that desires the training, it's available to them. And the more knowledge we equip people with, the better we're going to be at winning this battle.
I think that's the key for us, is we're trying to make it true practitioner operational experience that'll get somebody ready for day one fighting fraud, where banks don't have to do that themselves.
If we had to summarize the culture at Mission Omega, I think we'd have to start with freedom. We were in roles that were not freeing for us, that we did not feel like that we could do the good that we felt like we were empowered to do most of the time. So we were looking for something different. We were looking for freedom, and we wanted to create that culture for Mission Omega.